Hello all, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about collecting. So collections is something that's been a recent addition obviously to Sorare. Thought it'd be a good topic to discuss. Obviously an interesting one at the moment with most of the Euro cards coming to the end of their sort of sales or been out of season, and obviously with the different points associated with collecting, etc. Something I've always really done myself, being a maniac obviously behind all of the Celtic Limiteds or the Celtic Rares or just anything that's associated with Celtic in general. So hope everybody enjoys the video. I think it's an interesting discussion point and also an interesting strategy from Sorare going forward. There is only one place to start here, and it is the famous Glasgow Celtic. So here we go. Here's my own top collections. An interesting point here is that I was collecting before collections were even a thing. So if you're new to Sorare, then these collections didn't really exist at that point. So it's a recent addition to the game. Have a look at the very first one, which is 2021 to 2022. So the interesting thing here, obviously Sorare run a leaderboard for this, which there's no extra sort of points for or anything just now. It's mostly based on bragging rights, but who knows? Obviously, that may be something they develop on in future. Why did I collect all of these cards? Well, I'm a huge Celtic fan, right? When Celtic came on the platform, I was already on the platform, already had pretty good gallery, and that was a dream really, getting your own team on the platform. So our point worth noting here is that Celtic playing green and white, and green, white and gold kind of are Celtic's colours. So when you look at these cards, like, I immediately fell in love. I don't think my bank balance or my wife did, but yeah, there we go. So picked up lots of interesting cards here. Obviously Joe Hart, shirt number. Scott Bain was a champion edition to fill things out. Greg Taylor, champion edition. Chris Julienne was shirt number. Vickers, champion edition. Ball and goalie, he's mince. Let's not talk about him. Ralston, champion edition. Welsh was more of a filler. Tom Rogic, very first card. A guy who's been sensational for Celtic, obviously not here anymore. Sorrow. David Turnbull, shirt number. McCarthy, complete waste of space, but he's in the collection. Hatate, champion edition card. I do have the defender card as well, but for the purposes of collection, the highest scoring card counts. Cal McGregor, shirt number, had to be done. Some other champion edition ones of the squads here. Jota, no shirt number. He was hugely expensive at that point, so already had the Benfica version at that stage as well, so just added one for the purposes of having a Celtic one. Owen Moffat, champion edition. Giacomakis, interesting. He had a picture and never got cards for ages, so he actually never got to his shirt number, so he only has 5 limited cards for this season. Furuhashi, first card. I've also got his number 8 as well, because I'm a maniac. Alban Ajeti, champion edition. Abada, shirt number. Johnny Kennedy, shirt number. Dyson, champion edition. And Mikey Johnson. So, as you can see up here, obviously when collecting has come in, you get these additional bonuses. So obviously 1% is better than nothing, 2% is good, 3% starting to get really good, 4% and 5% are a lot harder to achieve basically. We'll have a quick look, I think, at the general sort of rules which surround collecting, because I think that's interesting. So the first thing to point out is you get 10 points just for owning a card. So that's for anybody. You get an extra 10 points for cards which are not listed in the last 90 days. This is an interesting one because even if you do own a card in your collection and then you list it, you get no points towards a collection at all. So when you unlist it, you then get the points that you're scoring, but you don't get the 10 points for unlisted in the last 90 days. New card of a max one owner, 20 points, so that's encouraging people obviously to buy it at auctions. Special card designs, 20 points. Number 1 serial number, 30 points. And serial number on jersey mints is 30 points as well. So it brings a bit of extra value to the special edition type cards. So looking on to the current season's limited cards, there are some interesting ones here for Celtic. So again, I have obviously completed this collection. So guys like Ben Summers, so he's a rookie card. You buy him at auction as a first owner, and you hold it and you don't list it, etc., then you're getting kind of max exposure in terms of points. Rocco Vata is the same. He's a rookie card as well, so he's a special edition. And obviously in here I've got other cards I've been holding for a while, so they're contributing a lot, like Matt O'Reilly's number 1 card. These cards obviously are really quite beneficial when it comes to SO5 scoring, etc. So if we go off collections here and we just have a look at basically some of the percentages, etc. So Celtic. And what I'm going to do here is filter it to the limited scarcity here as well. You see I've got a lot of Celtic cards. There we go. There's a surprise. So Carter Vickers, 16%. It's a really high bonus. So obviously that's carrying the current 5% season bonus as well. Jota, 15%. No use if he's in Saudi Arabia. Well, there's some use here. Blue X, so Asian Champions League for the moment. Rio Hatate defender card from this season, 15.5%. Where so I'm just going to go through the highest ones, so probably the most topical. Cal McGregor this season, 14%. Furuhashi, 13% bonus. 12.5% on the number 1 card. 14% Leo Labada. 16.5%. Joe Hart, obviously a card used quite a lot. I'm not sure whether I've actually got any that are higher than that, to be honest. Juranovic, 16%. Turnbull, 15.5%. So yeah, those are about the highest. Obviously, just sort of have a look at the actual percentages here. Don't think there's anyone I've got that's higher than that. Just have a quick look through all of them. What does that mean, really? For people, what does that? How does that help? So, obviously, if you're new to collecting, or if you're new to Sorare in general, if you score 100 and you've got a 15% bonus, then you're scoring 115. So it's a lot of extra points. And if you're running, for example, a Celtic stack, if you've got really nice bonuses, then particularly in limited, where there'll be a lot of Celtic stacks, then that's going to be a big advantage to you, right? It's a huge advantage. Obviously, I do have some rare ones and stuff here as well, but it's just such an extra amount of money to collect the whole rare stack. So like this we use for bit here, which is starts at £365, £349. So if you go mad and you really want to collect the whole Celtic stack for rares, etc., then you're going to be setting aside thousands. Really, it's going to be a lot of money to collect. So it's a bit easier to do it unlimited, and obviously I think you get the biggest benefit really of all scarcities is the points. But in limited is ultra competitive. So 1 or 2 points probably gets you up quite a lot of places in limited. And if you're running a really nice stack, 5 guys from the same team, and they win 5-0 or whatever, then it could be a difference between making a podium, not making a podium, etc. Boca Juniors is an interesting one. I've mentioned this in previous videos and things as well. So first thing to point out is don't even have the max 5% here yet, even though I've got all the cards, but that's because I've added a lot in recently and they're sitting at 10%, not 10%, sorry, 10 points. So I don't have any points for not been listed in the last 90 days. Did have guys from way back at the start. So Valentin Barco was one of the guys I bought right at the start. Gabriel Vega, who I think is still pretty highly rated. Alan Varela, I think might be moving to Porto now, which is a lovely move. Aaron Molinas, who I really rate. So I've got his shirt number, which is quite cool. So that's a nice wee card to have. Christian Medina, Ezequiel Zabalas, who's been unlucky with obviously injury, but I still think he'll come good. Really, he's a talented player. So yeah, this one I decided just to fill out the collection. Boca, an interesting one. I used to sort of follow them or buy guys from them a way back, and Football Manager, or way back even to Championship Manager, showing my age there. So there we go. Partly sentimental and partly just to collect. I'll come back to Man City in a wee minute. Now one I want to look at is Shakhtar Donetsk. So Shakhtar, obviously when I joined the platform like 3 years ago, Shakhtar were one of the teams that were licensed. And they were always quite affordable as well because they were playing in Europe and things, but the league wasn't covered at that point. So you bought them knowing that. You bought them knowing that there might be some upside in terms of if they move on, etc., which has actually worked out quite well, sadly, because of obviously situation, the war as well, but some talented players in the team. So Dodo's moved on. Trubin's a guy obviously I'd picked up. Vital's now playing in Brazil. Marcos Antonio at Lazio. Sudakov, think will move soon. Mudryk is actually one I picked up more recently. Bondarenko and Pedrinho were the stand for peace purchases, so they were special edition cards as well, and all the money that Sorare got for them they donated to Ukraine. Lassina Traore first card, Danilo Saikan and Fernando forward card, which is really nice now he's at Salzburg. So that's interesting. Tete actually has been linked with Celtic, so that would be an absolutely insane signing. I think I would really love that too. Looking at the sort of Celtic leaderboards, obviously I'm not number one in some of these leaderboards, and that's thanks to Big Alex Harry, Big A Harry, the absolute maniac. Hello mate, watching this, hope you're well. Alex Harry's actually in my WhatsApp group, so he joined a good number of years ago, and he's been part of the WhatsApp sign up group. So basically, anybody who signed up at that point using my link would put them in a group, and everybody would try and help each other. So yeah, he loves a collection. You do, mate, don't you? You just love a collection. I'm not saying you're addicted or anything, but there we go. Coming on to Man City, because I'm going to come back to talk about Alex Harry in a wee minute. So, Man City wise, I've now completed this collection as well. This was a sort of deliberate effort as well. So, the reasons being, firstly, Man City obviously have won the treble last season, so could be quite a cool collection to hold at some point as well. Might be a point even where Sorare let you sell the whole collection to somebody, or somebody wants to buy the whole collection, or just that collections become such a big thing that having the full sort of collection from certain seasons, etc., could be of extra benefit. The main benefit you're going to get from Man City is, if you look at the quality they've got, obviously Erling Haaland, won the treble, absolutely sensational superstar. Phil Foden's a guy I absolutely love. Just think he's such a good player. Just love watching him play football, even as a Scotsman. They say he's a talent. Brilliant. Kevin De Bruyne doesn't really need any introduction, right? Rodrigo is one of the highest scoring sort of defensive mids around, really, and actually produces those scores in Champion Europe, which isn't an easy thing to do. Grealish, maniac. Have you sobered up yet, Jack? What a legend. Yeah, a good laugh in those celebrations. Kanji finally picked up a João Cancelo, so they've started reminting these now because he's finished his loan, so managed to get it at a more reasonable price. Ruben Diaz, excellent. Such a good solid player, superb. And Ederson didn't really have as good a season as I sort of expected that he might have. But yeah, I mean, he'd more clean sheets and stuff the season before. So before I go on to Alex Harry the Maniacs collection, I just want to talk about sort of collections and bonuses and everything in general. So I feel as if this has sort of changed the way you want to strategize things. So obviously not everyone can afford to have the full collection, but we're at a point where, and I said in the previous video as well, if you're buying new cards just now, it's probably more to complete a collection rather than to start a collection. So for these like limited cards for 2022-23 for Man City, as soon as the EPL cards come out, you're going to lose the 5% season bonus. So obviously, because I have the whole sort of collection there, I'll get the maximum 5% bonus, and guys buying the new cards will still be a bit behind. But if somebody goes daft and buys like all of the number one mints or whatever, then if they buy the whole squad basically, then soon with the 5% season bonus and with the collection bonus and with the XP sort of ramping up quite quickly at the start, then they'll probably be outperforming me in connection with the overall XP amounts and stuff. And particularly unlimited XP is really, really important, I think. You know, it's just so competitive, and yeah, if you can get a wee edge, then obviously that helps. I don't think there's any point in just completing collections of like random like bad teams, etc. Obviously, if you support a random bad team and you really want to collect them, and that's good, obviously, you know, because it's something that's personal to you. But if you've got guys who really you think are really good players and you want to sort of build around that, then that's interesting. So that brings me to Liverpool. Again, I mentioned this in one of the previous videos as well, but I ended up winning an Alisson of this season, and I'd bought a Salah, which actually was this season, and then I've done some deals to swap them so that they're all together. And basically, if I don't list any of these, I'm going to get 3% of a bonus soon. So in rares, that's obviously really important as well, and it gives me some really nice options in here as well. You know, Salah, Trent, Robbo as an option, Virgil, Alisson. Obviously, none of the current like good midfielders or whatever, but you know that extra 3% could be really crucial in the likes of sort of Champion Europe. In terms of stacks have historically done pretty well, right? So you know, Liverpool is a good example. They didn't really have a great season last season, but they do some amount of damage stack wise. You know, it might just be specific games where they've got a home European game or just a home game at Anfield in general or whatever, and you know they do pretty well. Picking guys from different teams can sometimes be harder, obviously depending on fixtures. If you can put out like Alisson and Trent and Kimmich and Messi and you know somebody else, well, that's not really that hard, right? But picking the optimal sort of lineup or whatever is hard, because now scores are approaching 450 or 500, and really you need to get at least 4 good scores together, probably 5 these days. So it is an interesting point as well, because from the point of view of stacking or not stacking, it's thrown in another dimension here. You know, do you build out these sort of mini stacks or whatever where you're getting at least a couple together? You try and get some of the earlier mints to get a head start. You try and get some of the special editions, try and get them from auctions, all that type of stuff. So into Alex Harry, he has given me permission to talk about his collection here as well, which is fine. So let's get into that. So yeah, Alex is probably one of the only maddest people on Sorare to outperform me in a Celtic collection sense. So he's number one, obviously, in terms of this collection. Jay hates him. He does, because every time Jay's wanted to bid on a Celtic auction recently, Alex is in there bidding on it as well. Jay's just an R user, by the way, in case you're wondering who Jay is. But I want to just have a look at his Manchester City collection, because I think that's really cool. Obviously, from a rare point of view, it is a bit harder to go the full hog and get the full collection. This is a really cool collection, I think, to have, because obviously treble winning season and all that as well. And from a rare perspective, people, you know, a lot of people can't afford to just build out the whole shebang. So, you know, it's already sitting at 4%, and he's only, you know, by the start of the season, about 5% bonus. So that's pretty powerful. You get Ederson, Ruben Diaz, you know, Kevin De Bruyne. Doesn't have Gundogan yet, so if you if you're listing Gundogan, add on about 50 quid because Alex Harry's desperate. Sure, I shouldn't say that. Shouldn't say that. No, don't be nice to him. Let him finish the collection. Kevin De Bruyne, superb. Haaland up front. Obviously, the options there of like Alvarez, etc. as well. I think Mahrez might be going to Saudi or Qatar or whatever, which is a shame. So it does show some of the downsides of collections and that if guys move on. But if you assume that a lot of these top guys are going to be usable somewhere, it's really interesting. That Rico Lewis card's a quality card as well. That's a really nice design. That just looks really, really cool with the rookie card and different colours and stuff there. So that really stands out to me, which is nice. That's obviously part of the objective. João Cancelo there as well. Interested to see where he actually goes and how he does. Will he end up back at City after that's a spat with Pep? I don't know. So, and Big Man is also number one in the super rare. So look at how much harder it's getting, right? Like your number one ranked score 430 because you're talking about a lot of money for some of these cards. Connor Hazard turned out to be quite inspired because he's going to Plymouth, so utility there in terms of championship, a lot of games. Greg Taylor, Boston Lowell's young talent, Matt O'Reilly, awesome super rare to have. Aaron Moy's now retired, unfortunately, so that's just more of a collectible. Real Hatate, superb card. Dyson and Furu. So lovely collection of Celtic guys there as well. So back to the overall topic of collecting. I think it's interesting from a couple of points of view here. So just to come back to how the points work. Not listing in the last 90 days, so people know that they're losing collection points for not listing, and it's really hard to get up to 4 or 5%. I know some people will say, well, 4 or 5%, that's too overpowered, but there's a lot of guys that are getting 1 or 2% pretty easily, particularly in limited where cards aren't that expensive. So I know a lot of people saying, well, this really suits whales or guys who can invest more, and I do get that point of view. Like, I understand why people might think that. Obviously, the new card thing is quite interesting because if it's max one owner, then that only applies to rewards or buying from auction. So you can only get the max one owner bonus if you win it, or if you go and you buy it from auction. You can't get that if you buy from secondary. And 20 is quite a lot. That's the same as just owning a card and not listing it for 90 days. And then the special designs and the serial number ones, etc., that's bringing added value to them as well. I do think that it's really been a genius move from Sorare. I mean, if you look at, we're laughing about Alex obviously and annoying Jay and all that sort of stuff, but I'm pretty sure some of these cards are cards that people generally wouldn't have been bidding on. So from that point of view, it's definitely bringing value. And if you look at like my own collection here, and some of the guys I've picked up, so switch all back to new rather than highest average score. So like obviously I bought guys like Carlos Escuerdo, Eduardo Salvio's playing in our league just now. Benedetto is a bit done, but so I picked him up for a collection. Augustin Rossi, I thought, well, if I complete the collection, he's got to Flamengo, still only like 26, 27, 28, good goalkeeper, not bad sort of SO5 card to have. A lot of these guys are pretty cheap, so just sort of cheap fillers. Pavon is one I still like, not pulling up any trees in Brazil, but he's a talented player. So look at my buys here, I've bought a lot of these guys and spent a bit of money on Mocha cards, and the question is, would I have done that if collections didn't exist? And the answer is no, I definitely wouldn't have. I don't think I'd have been interested in that. I'd have been happy with the guys that I had, but I decided to fill out the collection just so that I could fill it out, and just that kind of OCD that sort of overcoming you, and just think about, if I buy these guys, then I'll get my extra percent or whatever on Alan Varela and Malinas and guys that I think I'm going to be using for a good number of years. So yeah, collecting is really an interesting thing. It's making people want to buy things to hold them, not to list them, to want to keep them for a while, and also bringing a bit of value to squad players as well. It might also bring value to guys who are retired. You know, when these come out, Romulo, who's unfortunately injured just now, his cards are Busan cards, and I had 1 out of 100 on our guy at Busan. And all of a sudden, I get 5 messages from guys wanting to buy this rare card of a guy who's completely like not even covered in terms of SO5 just now. So it definitely is bringing value to other cards by having this overall collections theory. So people found that interesting. Obviously, if you have your own club on Sorare, you want to collect, then that's great. If you don't, collect Celtic cards. Good luck when the new ones come out. You'll have to bid against me and all the other maniacs that are on the platform, like Alex, Harry, and Jay, and all the other Celtic fans, etc. But enjoy it. If your team's on, then that's absolutely awesome. But if not, sometimes you can just pick a team and go with that as well, and you might find a connection with those teams. So hope you enjoyed the content again, guys. Plenty of videos hopefully coming soon. It's a bit of a boring spell at the moment with SO5 being the middle of the summer. I do love MLS in Asia, etc., but even got some quite sort of poor game weeks on. But Europe's coming back soon, and can't wait really for that. So fingers crossed that we'll start to ramp up and we'll see some other site developments. But good luck and go. I won't say it. Have a good one. Cheers.